Most pilots spend their careers mastering routine landings. But there are places where ordinary skill means nothing. Places where only a handful of pilots are trusted, and where the limits are not set by machines or laws, but by nature itself. Hello, I'm Adam. You know the voice, and now, welcome to the studio. Today we aren't just looking at airports. We are looking at survival. From a runway that ends on a cliff edge to a landing strip surrounded by houses. These are the only places on Earth where a pilot's license isn't enough. Let's dive in. Just 50 pilots on Earth are cleared to attempt the world's hardest arrivals. What makes these airports so unforgiving that even experience is not enough? Who dares to land where almost no one else ever can? A standard pilot's license opens the sky, but it does not open every runway. At the world's most demanding airports, clearance comes only after meeting 4 strict requirements, each designed to filter for judgment, not just technical skill. First, pilots must earn specialized certification from both their airline and the National Aviation Authority. This process goes far beyond the flight school classroom. It means studying terrain, wind patterns, and airport-specific procedures until every hazard is second nature. Next comes recurrent simulator training. It is never a one-time event. Every 6 to 12 months, pilots step into a Level D full-motion simulator that recreates the exact topography, wind, and lighting of these unique approaches. The goal is not just memorizing checklists, but rehearsing what to do when nature refuses to cooperate. Only those who demonstrate total control, even when the simulator throws its worst, move forward. Then there is the line check. Under the watchful eye of a senior examiner, pilots must land the real aircraft at the real airport, often in challenging conditions. The examiner looks for more than smooth technique. They watch for judgment under pressure, the ability to recognize when a landing should be abandoned, and the discipline to follow through. Finally, pilots must prove their weather judgment. At these airports, the right call is often to wait or to turn away. No amount of automation can replace the split-second decision-making required when mountain winds shift or valley fog rolls in. If you like understanding how global aviation decisions are made, not just where airports are built, consider subscribing. This channel explains the systems shaping air travel before they become obvious. For the pilots who pass this gauntlet, the reward is not prestige, but trust. Only then are they allowed to attempt landings where ordinary experience is never enough. Madeira Airport stands as a monument to engineering ambition. The runway, once too short for modern jets, now stretches nearly 3 kilometers. Its final third is suspended above the Atlantic on a grid of 180 concrete pillars, some rising over 50 meters from the surf below. The platform's construction solved one problem and exposed another. With nowhere left for earthworks, engineers built outward, not upward, leaving the runway open to the full force of ocean winds and mountain downdrafts. Crosswinds here can reach 40 knots, swirling unpredictably as air tumbles down the island's steep ridges and funnels across the exposed deck. Pilots describe the approach as a contest between human judgment and invisible forces. In the cockpit, every landing is a live calculation. Angle the aircraft into the wind, hold a crabbed heading, and at the last possible moment, kick the nose straight before the wheels touch. Too soon, and the plane drifts off centerline. Too late, and the landing gear slams down sideways. Passengers often watch the wingtips rock and the runway slide past the windows, unaware of the precision unfolding in the cockpit. A Madeira-certified captain recounts the moment when a gust lifts one wing just above the threshold. You have 10 seconds to decide, land, or go around. There is no shame in trying again. Around 1 in 10 approaches end with a go-around, and every captain is trained to choose caution over pride. The safety net is real, the option to abort and circle for another attempt. Here, the system rewards restraint as much as skill. The pillars hold up the runway, but it is the pilot's judgment that determines who lands. At Tenzing-Hillary Airport in Lucla, The rules of flight change the instant a pilot lines up with the runway. The strip measures just 527 meters from threshold to stone wall, barely enough for a short takeoff and landing aircraft to stop, even in perfect conditions. The surface rises at a steep 12% gradient, forcing every arriving plane to claw uphill from the moment its wheels touch down. There is no flat stretch for error, no margin to bleed off speed. At the far end, a rock wall closes in. At the near end, a sheer drop falls away into the valley below. Once a pilot commits to landing here, there is no possibility of retreat. The descent path is boxed in by Himalayan slopes, and the thin mountain air robs engines and wings of their usual power. If a landing feels wrong, if the approach is too fast or the touchdown point slips away, there is no room to open the throttle and climb out. The moment the aircraft crosses the threshold, physics takes over. Stopping distance shrinks, brakes and reverse thrust fight gravity, and the slope both helps and hinders. It slows the plane, but any miscalculation means the wall arrives in seconds. For the pilots, this is a mental crucible. Every approach is rehearsed in the mind before it happens in the cockpit. The view ahead is a narrow ribbon of asphalt, bordered by emptiness on one side and immovable rock on the other. The decision to land is final. At Lucla, there is only one chance to get it right. Weather at Lucla is never just a backdrop. It is the force that decides if a flight will finish at all. Valley winds can reverse direction in under 5 minutes, turning a clear approach into a wall of cloud or rain without warning. On some days, visibility drops from several kilometers to less than 1 kilometer in the space of a single landing attempt. Pilots rely on short-lived weather windows, watching for breaks in the clouds that might last only minutes. Official records from Nepal's Civil Aviation Authority show that nearly 2/3 of scheduled flights to Lucla are delayed, diverted, or canceled each year due to weather. The accident timeline tells a sobering story. There have been more than 20 serious incidents since the 1970s, most involving runway excursions or controlled flight into terrain. In 2023, a sudden valley fog contributed to a crash that claimed 18 lives, one of several events that forced regulators to tighten both training and operational procedures. Every incident leaves a mark on how pilots are trained and how flights are managed. After the 2022 runway incursion, ground communications were overhauled and new approach checklists became mandatory. An operations official says, "We audit every flight, every season. If the weather is unstable, the airport closes, no exceptions." These changes have reduced the number of approach-related accidents, but they have not changed the core reality. At Lucla, nature still controls the clock, and pilots must learn to wait as often as they fly. What cannot be seen or predicted remains the greatest risk of all. A Paro-certified captain guides the approach by sight alone. The cockpit is silent except for checklist calls and the sound of wind funneling through the valley. There are no instrument signals. Terrain blocks every radio beam. The aircraft follows the river, banking tightly between ridges marked by white-walled monasteries and prayer flags. At just over 1,000 feet above the ground, the pilot begins the final manual maneuver, a steep turn that must be completed in less than 10 seconds. The nose swings toward the runway, and the wings nearly brush the slopes on either side. There is no autopilot, no computer to intervene. Everything depends on the pilot's hands and eyes. If the geometry is wrong or the altitude slips, there is no time to recover. Touchdown comes almost immediately after the turn. There is no escape route. Only those who master this moment are trusted to land here. Every advance in aircraft design and airport engineering meets a boundary that cannot be moved. At Madeira, technology stretches concrete over the sea, but wind and terrain still dictate when a plane can land. In the Himalayas, runways are carved from rock, yet weather and altitude set the rules no matter how skilled the builder. Paro offers no digital safety net, just a pilot's eyes, hands, and judgment, tested every time. A human factors analyst puts it plainly, automation can assist, but it cannot decide. At these airports, the limits are written by geography and weather, not by software. The final authority is always the person in the cockpit, trusted to know when to push forward and when to turn away. Today, even with cutting-edge aircraft, only 50 pilots worldwide are trusted to land at Paro. As automation advances, these places remind us some challenges still demand human judgment at its absolute limit. Nature, not technology, draws the final boundary in aviation. Thanks for watching.